Hey movie, fight fans. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the cinematic moments that make our hearts race and jaws drop. Today we're tackling something epic. 9 epic movie fight scenes and what really happened. We're not just talking about the punches, kicks, and sword clashes you see on screen. Oh no. We're going behind the scenes to uncover the drama, the chaos, the injuries, and the wild stories that made these iconic battles come to life. From real-life injuries to creative genius, these Hollywood fight scenes are packed with fascinating facts you probably didn't know. So grab some popcorn, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into the action. First, The Matrix from 1999 subway fight. First up, we're stepping into the cyberpunk world of The Matrix, with the iconic subway fight between Neo and Agent Smith. This 1999 showdown, directed by the Wachowskis, is a masterclass in blending Hong Kong-style martial arts with groundbreaking bullet time effects. Keanu Reeves's Neo faces off against Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith in a gritty subway station with wire-few choreography that redefined action cinema. But what went into making this scene so unforgettable? Behind the scenes, the fight was choreographed by the legendary Yuen Woo-ping, a Hong Kong maestro, who demanded the cast train for 6 months before filming. Keanu Reeves was recovering from neck surgery at the time, so he trained with a neck brace, pushing through pain to nail those high-flying kicks. The bullet time effect, where the camera spins around a frozen moment, was a logistical nightmare. The crew built a rig with 120 still cameras to capture the action, and each shot took days to set up. Hugo Weaving, meanwhile, wasn't exactly a martial arts pro. He relied heavily on stunt doubles and precise editing to look like a menacing machine. Fun fact, Weaving sprained his ankle during rehearsals, and the crew had to adjust the choreography to hide his limp. Drama on set? Keanu's dedication clashed with the Wachowskis' perfectionism, leading to tense moments as they reshot scenes to get the timing just right. The result, a fight that's still studied by filmmakers today. Second, Oldboy from 2003 hallway fight. Next, we're heading to South Korea for the brutal hallway fight in Oldboy, directed by Park Chan-wook. This 2003 masterpiece features Oh Dae-soo, played by Choi Min-sik, taking on a swarm of thugs in a single unbroken shot. Armed with just a hammer, Dae-soo fights his way through a cramped corridor in a scene that's raw, visceral, and unforgettable. But the story behind this scene is just as intense. Originally, Park planned to shoot the fight with multiple cuts, but on set, he decided to go for a single take to heighten the realism. This was grueling for Choi Min-sik, who had to perform the exhausting sequence 17 times to get it right. The actors playing the thugs were mostly stuntmen, but they weren't told to hold back, making the hits look painfully real. Choi was battered and bruised by the end, and one stuntman accidentally took a hammer to the shoulder. The crew used practical effects for blood, with squibs rigged to explode on cue, adding to the chaos. Behind-the-scenes drama? Park's perfectionism pushed the cast to their limits, and tensions ran high as exhaustion set in. Interesting fact, the single-take style inspired countless imitators, including Netflix's Daredevil series. This scene proves that sometimes less editing means more impact. 3. The Legend of Drunken Master from 1994. Final fight. Let's lighten things up with Jackie Chan's The Legend of Drunken Master. The climactic fight in this 1994 Hong Kong classic sees Chan's character, Wong Fei-hung, using his drunken boxing style to take on a horde of enemies in a steel factory. It's a dazzling mix of martial arts, comedy, and death-defying stunts. But, as with any Jackie Chan film, the behind-the-scenes story is wild. Jackie, who also directed and choreographed, spent months designing this sequence. The fight involves fire, hot coals, and a slide down a pole covered in electric lights, one of Chan's most iconic stunts. That slide? It left him with second-degree burns and a fractured rib, but Jackie kept filming. The scene was shot practically with minimal safety equipment, as was Chan's style. The crew used real alcohol to get Jackie in character for the drunken boxing, leading to some hilarious outtakes where he was a bit too tipsy. Drama. Jackie's insistence on doing his own stunts caused friction with producers, who worried about his safety. Fun fact, the fight took 4 months to film, and Jackie broke his ankle during one take, but kept going, taping it up and jumping back in. That's dedication. 4. They Live from 1988. Alley Brawl. Now let's get scrappy with They Live, John Carpenter's 1988 sci-fi classic. The alley brawl between Nada, played by wrestler Rowdy Roddy Piper, and Frank, played by Keith David, is a 6-minute slugfest over a pair of alien-revealing sunglasses. It's gritty, sweaty, and feels like a real street fight. But what happened behind the scenes? Carpenter, a wrestling fan, cast Piper for his rugged look and fighting experience. The director gave stunt choreographer Jeff Imada free rein, but insisted on 3 wrestling moves: a suplex, a clothesline, and a sidewalk slam. Piper and David rehearsed for weeks, blending choreographed moves with real punches to sell the realism. Both actors took real hits, and Piper later said, "Keith could hit like a truck." The scene was shot over 3 days, with the actors so exhausted they could barely stand by the end. Drama? Piper's showboating annoyed David, who responded by landing harder punches, escalating the tension. Fun fact, the fight was inspired by a real wrestling match Piper saw, and he ad-libbed some of Nada's taunts, like, "I'm here to chew bubblegum." This brawl is a testament to old-school grit. 5. Kill Bill, Volume 1 from 2003, The Crazy 88 Fight. Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill, Volume 1 brings us the bloody, stylish fight against the Crazy 88 gang. Uma Thurman's bride slices through dozens of yakuza in a Tokyo restaurant, wielding a samurai sword in a scene that's pure Tarantino, flashy, gory, and packed with film references. But the behind-the-scenes story is a saga of its own. Tarantino wanted the fight to feel like a 1970s samurai flick, so he used practical effects like condoms filled with fake blood instead of CGI. The scene was so gory that parts were shot in black and white to avoid censorship, a nod to old kung fu films. Uma Thurman trained for months with martial arts experts, but the sheer scale of the fight, over 50 stunt performers, made it chaotic. One stuntman was accidentally nicked by a prop sword, requiring stitches. Drama? Tarantino's obsessive attention to detail led to clashes with the crew, who struggled to keep up with his vision. Fun fact, the fight took 8 weeks to shoot, and Thurman's katana was dulled but still sharp enough to make her nervous. This scene is a love letter to grindhouse cinema, sealed with blood. 6. John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum from 2019, Horse Stable Fight. The John Wick franchise is a goldmine for action, and the horse stable fight in John Wick. Chapter 3, Parabellum stands out. Keanu Reeves' Wick uses horses as weapons and rides one through New York City in a thrilling chase. But pulling this off was no walk in the park. Keanu trained for months in trick riding, learning to hang off a horse at high speed while attached to a safety harness. The stable scenes were shot with real horses, which spooked easily, forcing the crew to reset constantly. Director Chad Stahelski, a former stuntman, insisted on practical effects, so the kicks and falls were real, with stuntmen padded to the max. Drama? The horses caused delays, and Keanu's perfectionism led to heated debates over timing. Fun fact, Reeves did most of his own riding, and one horse got so attached to him, it followed him off set. This scene shows why John Wick keeps raising the bar for action. 7. The Raid 2 from 2014, Kitchen Fight. Indonesia's The Raid 2 delivers one of the most brutal fights ever, the kitchen showdown between Rama and the assassin. This nearly 7-minute brawl is a masterclass in martial arts, with every hit looking painfully real. But the behind-the-scenes effort was Herculean. Star Iko Uwais, who also choreographed, spent 6 months designing the fight with his team, testing moves through trial and error. The kitchen set was built to be destroyed with breakaway props and hidden pads for safety. Still, the intensity led to minor injuries, with Uwais twisting his knee and his opponent, Sechep Arif Rahman, bruising his ribs. The crew used handheld cameras to capture the chaos, requiring precise timing to avoid collisions. Drama? The grueling schedule pushed the stunt team to breaking point, with tempers flaring over missed cues. Fun fact, the fight was rehearsed so much that Uwais and Rahman could perform it blindfolded. This scene is proof that hard work pays off in blood and glory. 8. Rocky from 1976, Final Fight. We're stepping into the ring with Rocky, the 1976 classic that made Sylvester Stallone a star. The final boxing match between Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed is a gritty, emotional slugfest that redefined sports movies. But the behind-the-scenes story is just as inspiring. Stallone wrote the script and insisted on realism, so he and Carl Weathers, who played Creed, took real punches during filming. Stallone even encouraged Weathers to hit harder, resulting in bruised ribs and a swollen face. The fight was shot over weeks, with the actors training like real boxers to build stamina. The original ending had Rocky and Adrian leaving the ring somberly, but test audiences hated it, so Stallone reshot the iconic, uplifting finale. Drama. Stallone's dual role as star and writer caused friction with director John G. Avildsen, who wanted more control. Fun fact: the fight's choreography was inspired by real boxing matches Stallone studied, and he wore contact lenses to simulate swollen eyes. This scene is the heart of Rocky's underdog spirit. 9. Troy from 2004, Achilles vs. Hector. Finally, we're charging into the epic clash from Troy, the 2004 historical blockbuster directed by Wolfgang Petersen. The duel between Achilles, played by Brad Pitt, and Hector, played by Eric Bana, is a heart-pounding sword and shield battle outside the gates of Troy. This emotionally charged fight, steeped in Homeric tragedy, showcases brutal choreography and raw intensity. But the behind-the-scenes story is just as gripping. Brad Pitt trained for 6 months to transform into the near-mythical warrior Achilles, working with sword masters and building a physique that became iconic. Eric Bana, less experienced in action roles, underwent intense training to match Pitt's energy. The choreography, designed to mimic ancient Greek combat, used heavy bronze swords and shields, which exhausted both actors during long takes. Pitt tore his Achilles tendon, ironically, during an earlier scene, delaying the fight's filming for weeks. The crew used a mix of practical effects and CGI to enhance the scale, but the close-up combat was all real. Drama. Pitt and Bana's competitive streaks led to playful but tense moments, as each wanted to outshine the other. Fun fact, the fight was shot in Malta under scorching heat, and the actors had to be hosed down between takes to avoid heat stroke. This duel remains a standout for its blend of raw physicality and emotional depth. And there you have it, 9 epic movie fight scenes and the wild stories behind them. From Keanu Reeves battling through injury to Brad Pitt's ironic Achilles injury, these moments remind us that creating cinematic magic is no easy feat. Which fight scene is your favorite? Did we miss any behind-the-scenes stories you love? Drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more deep dives into movie history. Until next time, keep watching, keep fighting, and stay epic.